Trump just took CPAC by storm. He spoke to the annual gathering of conservatives and was welcomed by an adoring crowd. Trump used his speech to lay out all his accomplishments as he marks 1 month in office.
Joe was the worst, and believe me, I have to clean up the mess. I'm cleaning up the mess, and it is a mess on the border with inflation. To go over every single thing he touched turned to the fraudsters, liars, cheaters, globalists, and deep state bureaucrats are being sent packing. The illegal alien criminals are being sent home. We're draining the swamp and we're restoring government by the people. We're liberating communities like Aurora, Colorado, and Springfield, Ohio, that have been occupied by illegal alien criminals from all over the world. We're rescuing the Americans whose jobs have been stolen, whose wages have been robbed, and whose way of life has been absolutely destroyed. And under the Trump administration, our country will not be turned into a dumping ground.
It was an eventful day for Vice President Vance as well. CPAC attendees picked him as their top preference for the 2028 presidential nominee in the straw poll. Yes, we're already talking about that. So let's go to Lucas Tomlinson live at CPAC for more. Hi, Lucas.
Well, good evening, Alicia. And Steve Bannon finished in second place with 12% of the vote. They're packing up the room here now, but it was a packed house earlier. Thousands gathered to hear President Trump, as you mentioned, marking 1 month in office. He came here to tout his accomplishments and including his favorite word.
We're going to have so much money coming in from tariffs. Oh, you're going to say, your senators and your congressmen are going to say, please, sir, please. You're making us look so bad. We have so much money coming in. I didn't know this was going to happen.
The president spoke for over an hour here outside the nation's capital in PG County. He also used the occasion to tee off on former President Biden, his predecessor.
I also revoked Joe Biden's security clearances, the Biden crime family security clearances, and they'll no longer be allowed to access state secrets while selling themselves all around the world. Oh, well. Now, these are bad people.
And recall that spat the president had with the governor of Maine while hosting all the governors from around the country at the White House yesterday. The president addressed that issue as well.
The governor of Maine. She's fighting to keep men in women's sports. You ever see what happens to a woman when a woman boxes a man who transitioned to womanhood? Did you ever see what happens? It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Let her do that fight.
There are a number of world leaders that gathered here as well, including the president of Argentina and also the president of Poland. I spoke to him earlier about how the war in Ukraine could end. I also asked him if he trusts Vladimir Putin, and he reminded me, Alicia, that President Putin is a former KGB agent, and also the president says he thinks he's very close to ending Russia's war on Ukraine with the deal. Alicia.
All right, well, we will be watching. Really good to see you. Thank you, Lucas. Lucas Tomlinson. Okay, so, Tom, let's talk about this straw poll with J.D. Vance. We're already talking about 2028. It's February of 2025, in case anybody's keeping track. But your thoughts here?
It's quite amazing. And, you know, the most amazing part about that is that Steve Bannon came in pretty far ahead of Ron DeSantis. He's in a distant third. But J.D. Vance is no surprise to me that he was the choice of people at CPAC and probably all conservatives, all of MAGA America. He embodies the MAGA spirit more than anybody else. And what's great about that is that he provides a contrast with President Trump. He actually was against Trump back in 2016. And, you know, people often, they play clips and they try to do gotcha with J.D. Vance. Oh, you used to like Trump. You said he was dangerous. He changed his mind on Trump like so many people in America. So his his change of mind on Trump shows you where he's at with MAGA. He's also been great with the cultural issues. He gave that speech the other day on masculinity. Again, people tried to make fun of him. Oh, he's talking about, the toxic males and, whatever. He said that males should be able to tell a joke and have a beer. And people thought that was kind of silly. But you know who didn't think that was silly? Young males. Because I was saying this to Greg Gutfeld the other night. The idea is not that our feelings are hurt, the white male feelings. It's that when they said that masculinity was toxic, the male, especially the young male, just tuned out. He didn't want to go to college. He didn't want to work a corporate job. He didn't want to be a part of the system. He just wanted to check out and play video games. But if someone from MAGA, like J.D. Vance, says, no, you have a stake in this movement, they're going to join in. So that's very powerful.
Yeah, and in foreign policy also, we've seen the president and the vice president offering 1-2 punches when it comes to establishing foreign policy and where the United States stands right now. So we will continue to watch. Arthel, CPAC is, in essence, it's a victory lap right now, especially for Republicans, especially for the president, right? But it's not undeserved. He won all 7 battleground states. He managed to bring in so many critical voting blocks. However, they do have the next 2 years where they have to maintain that popularity and then extend it to the next 2 years after that to 2028.
Right, but you know what? President Trump is great at marketing. He's a master at it, all right? And so I think that if it's going to be relied upon that, then he'll keep winning.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, he knows exactly what he's doing there, and he knows what he's talking about when he's talking to crowds. Dr. Siegel, the president and Doge, Elon Musk, they're facing a flood of lawsuits right now. There's a lot of pushback coming, and it's landing in the courts. Americans are watching this as all this pushback is happening. They brought him into office with the expectation that a lot was going to get done, but they're also watching a lot of fights.
Look, I think that CPAC shows some of this groundswell of support that we haven't seen since Ronald Reagan started CPAC in 1974, which he then wrote into the presidency. This excitement also extends to Doge and the idea of getting rid of bloat and getting rid of bureaucracy and getting rid of excess. I myself prefer a scalpel to a hammer or to a hatchet. So I want to see how that works out. And I think that will be the long-term issue. But Stefanik is saying we need a worldwide Doge. And in a sense, we do, because we have governmental bloat everywhere.
Right.
Governmental bureaucracy. So I really like the idea of trimming back. I mean, look, we're $1.8 trillion deficit here. What are we going to do? Just keep spending?
Well, and I'm just really glad as a doctor you don't prefer a hammer and I prefer a scalpel. That sounds much more delicate. So thank you for that, I'm relieved.